Poverty in New Zealand, Philadelphia's building collapse, floods in Germany and Hungary, Joplin helps Oklahoma City in the USA, and the need for fresh water everywhere. All this and more on this week's edition of Salvation Army Today. A report recently released by the Salvation Army adds weight to the growing volume of evidence of a significant working poor who are slipping into poverty in New Zealand. The Army's report on the state of Pacifica people in New Zealand tells a chilling story of Pacific families going hungry, swelling the ranks of food bank lines, and descending into debt. The government's national security, John Riel, congratulates the Salvation Army for highlighting the grim reality of poverty pay. Now we need to see leadership from public and private sector employers in action on the growing call of communities, churches, and unions for the living wage for all workers, he said. We reported hours after the building collapse in Philadelphia that search and rescue efforts were still proceeding for survivors. Sadly, the death toll rose overnight to 6 individuals, 2 of which were employees of our adult rehabilitation managed family store. In a statement to the media, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Raines, commander of the Adult Rehabilitation Center, said, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of life of the 6 individuals who perished in the wake of the building collapse. The passing of these individuals, including 2 of our employees, will be felt across our entire organization and throughout the community. We will continue to pray for their families during this time and for all of those affected. The Salvation Army has been in contact with the families to offer emotional and spiritual support and is working closely with the Philadelphia Police, Fire, and Office of Emergency Management during this critical response to offer assistance in any way we can. We thank the first responders for their efforts in this tragedy, and we do not have any further information to provide as families are asking for privacy at this time." The Salvation Army was able to be on the scene providing refreshment, water, spiritual, and emotional comfort to all those involved. We have since been informed that a crane operator is under arrest as the person likely of causing the neighboring building to collapse. As floodwaters rise in eastern Germany, the Salvation Army is actively assisting victims and volunteer workers. Until the waters recede, the Salvation Army is serving warm meals and coffee, packing sandbags, listening to heartbroken people, and giving practical assistance where needed. In the city of Meissen, which is home to the Salvation Army Corps and a mobile ministry, coffee and soup were distributed and sandbags prepared. In Leipzig and Dresden, hot drinks and warm meals were delivered into the early morning hours and again at midday for volunteers who are helping to keep the waters at bay by deploying sandbags along the edge of the river. Meals and clothes are being distributed to people who have been personally affected by the floods. When the waters recede, the heavy cleanup begins, shoveling mud out of homes, salvaging what can be saved, and renovating. The Salvation Army will be present helping where it can in this substantial work of rebuilding lives. In addition, the Hungarian government has asked the Salvation Army for assistance as the river Danube reaches record levels, threatening the Hungarian capital, Budapest. Prime Minister Viktor Orban has declared an emergency, and his government asked the Salvation Army to provide essential supplies and assistance as evacuations take place. A tractor-trailer made the 3-hour drive from Joplin, Missouri to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma this week to deliver water and other supplies as a gift from Joplin citizens having gone through a similar terrifying EF5 tornado, now over 2 years ago.
Hi, this is Lieutenant James Curry. I'm the Corps officer in Joplin, Missouri, and today we're really giving back to the citizens of Moore what we truly received. You know, in Joplin we experienced an EF5 tornado 2 years ago. And it was devastating. We lost 161 lives. And today we're giving back hope that was received from us, from the whole United States. And in this, we want to share God's love and God's hope that there's a better tomorrow. You know, we provide the basic necessities, but there'll be more to come because they will rebuild, and we want to stand in support with them in prayer and in giving of these items that are needed.
For our international spotlight, we travel to London, England, and the Office of International Development for the Salvation Army, whose mission is to resource, empower, and support developing communities, to defeat poverty and injustice, and enable them to build a better life and future. One particular program this vital section of the Army is engaged in is the supply of clean water to many countries still without.
Clean water is still needed by 1 in 8 people on the planet. This water has the power to invigorate, to stimulate. This water is powerful. This water is transformational. This water is precious. We all need water. We all long for it. We need to keep up the fight until we all have access to it. The good news is the fight is working. More people have access to clean water than ever before. But there are still hundreds of millions around the world who don't. We can change this. Give water and you give life to these communities. Simple, really. Give water. Give life.
In closing, we turn to Joshua. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Be sure to tune in next week for more Salvation Army news from around the world. For Salvation Army Today, I'm Roberta Simmons-Smith. Good day, and may God bless you.